Hello, Nena. Hello, Caliton. And hello to the rest of the world. I'm Rayan.
I'm a massive croissant.
And I'm Ivan. Also a croissant.
And tonight is our second installment on Survivor UK. This is the podcast where we watch reality TV, so you don't have to. Welcome to episode 20 of It's Just a Game.
We're on 20.
Happy birthday!
Hello and welcome to episode 20 of It's Just a Game, the podcast where we watch reality TV, so you don't have to. Every week we look at the hot goss, the dramatic strategies, and more on your favourite...
From your favourite... This is... Do you know, actually, it's not just your favourite, it's the world's favourite.
Right, well, it's our favourite strategies and more, and this week we're here to talk about episodes 3 and 4 of Survivor UK. Yeah. To do that, I'm joined by my two tribe mates. Wilf is here with us today. Hello, Wilf. How are you?
I'm good. No, I'm
Great.
good, man.
Wilf is undergoing depression then.
I'm excited to listen to your opinions because a lot of us we have divisive opinions sometimes.
We've got stuff to say here, and Ivan's here with us today to also share his opinion. Hello, Ivan. How have your opinions been?
Oh, my opinions have been top notch. Joel Dommett, been top notch. Thank you very much.
Okay,
I tried to find your name on the screen, and I just saw Joel Dommett and decided that's
so. Just in case you forget, my name is Ryan. It's okay. It's only been 20 episodes.
It's just I really struggled. Were you on the Traitors? Was that?
I was working. I was production. I worked on sound design.
Now I recognised you from somewhere.
Yeah,
right.
Anyway, now we're entering a spoiler zone. So if you haven't seen episodes 1 to 4 of Survivor UK and you do not want to be spoiled, go away and come back when you're done. If you have seen it, stay right here. Do not move. Freeze. And if you don't mind being spoiled, Ivan is here to catch us up. And his brand new segment, he's never done that before, called What's Been Going On, Ivan? Ivan, what's been going on, Ivan?
Well, I'd love to tell you, Ryan. Thank you very much. Let's start with episode 3, where Boxer Lee leads a men versus not men fracture in Nena. Lawrence and Ren are given a fishy dilemma. They both lie to their tribes, and neither gets away with it. More of that later. The task is a team pursuit sandbag carrying race in the water. You know the kind of thing. Nena, on Lee's strategy, goes out fast. They're down to the final 3 men really quick, and are the hare to Calaton's tortoise. The Ton, as I'm now calling them, the Ton win. Lee decides he's picking which of what he calls the blondes are going home. His misogyny is showing and he's an obvious target. Rach and Ashley target Lee and his bad strategy, but it's too late. Nena go with the safety of Lee and vote out Rach. But now, the men outnumber the not men by 4-3. What a bad strategy. Let's talk about that later. On to episode 4, and Nena are down to their last pineapple! Doug, with a clue from Ren, finds the first immunity idol and hides it beautifully from Pegleg by sitting on a log for a bit. Brilliant. In Calaton, or the Ton, Lawrence shares with Tanuke that there is a hidden idol. Everyone's struggling to relate to Shay. The reward challenge is a bell ring wrestle length. You know that kind of thing. Calaton wins a barbecue, but yoga instructor Leilani is becoming isolated as the weakest of the team. The immunity challenge is a balance beam reverse Jenga. You don't know the kind of thing, and it really doesn't suit Pegleg. Aside from him, though, it suits everyone who struggled in the strength challenges. Nena win to even the numbers, or do they? Calaton, further behind in terms of forming alliances than Nena, deliberate between Shay and Leilani. But the vote is for who to send to Nena. So who do they send? They overwhelmingly send the person whose name sounds most like Nena, Leilani. And that's where we end the episode.
Leilani goes to Nena.
And that's the end. That's the podcast.
That's basically it. Thank you for coming. My name is Ryan. No. But look, there's going to be a lot to discuss here. Let's take it from the top. And by the top, I do not mean, Lawrence's morning skinny dip in the first episode of this week. The man just gets naked for no reason. Fair enough. I respect that.
Is he the top? I feel like he's verse. Do you think he's verse?
What's that mean?
It's a joke for a specific segment of our audience. I trust you'll appreciate it.
Okay.
But anyway, let's talk about we'll come back to the strategy. There's a lot of
No, go on.
There's a lot of strategizing in the morning.
Yeah, you got it there, mate. You got it. It's fine.
There's a lot of strategizing. Oh my god!
Don't you try and do another take. We know what you're doing. Carry on.
Come on.
Carry on.
No, it's like we see it in the morning. There's a lot of strategizing, but we'll get back to that. First, I want to talk about that nice little twist, the outpost, and the immunity idol is back. That is such a powerful weapon in this game. It's given rise to some of the most iconic moments of that game in other countries, and I can't wait to see how it gets used, if it gets used the right way. But first, let's talk about how you get to that immunity idol. The outpost, Lawrence and Ren go away, and they've got a choice. Do you get the potato and you get a clue for yourself, or do you get a fish, small fish or big fish? My first question for you guys is, you get sent to the outpost. What are you picking? What do you go for? Let's start with you, Ivan.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I would have done, and then I'm going to say, well, that was a terrible idea. What I would have done was gone for the small fish, like Ren did, but then made up a story about some, like, sliding tiles puzzle, and I had to keep wagering whether I wanted to go for the bigger reward, and eventually I decided to bring the fish back because I didn't want to risk the larger fish to lose. Because the lie that they brought back wasn't impressive, and it was seen through. But I'm bloody glad I wasn't in the game, because then when the tribes met and chatted about it, they were like, did you have to do the slide puzzle? And the other person would have given away that was a total lie. So actually, that would have been my strategy, but I'm really, really effing glad I didn't get a chance to ruin my chances on Survivor with that one. Wilf?
I think I would have gone for the middle fish. I think the middle fish. Well, there's not middle fish. There was only two.
The small fish.
The small fish.
There was actually a tiny fish hidden inside the potato.
Yeah.
I
would have went for the small fish and a clue, and I would have come up with a more impressive story. Exactly what Ivan said. I think the worst one was I had to choose between this and a bag of rice, and I was like, and the thing is, what. Like, people clicked onto it straight away, and even Lee's not the greatest sort of person to think about strategy. I don't think personally, but that's what I would have done. I would have gone there with a story. I would have came back. Go
on then. What's the story? Come on. You have to think now. Go.
What's the story?
Okay, you just come back. You're back to camp. Oh, hey, how was the challenge?
Oh, it was really hard. I had to compete in a strategic puzzle with slides. No, I would have just said I had to compete in a challenge where I don't know. I don't even know from the top of my head.
Because I would have immediately asked you for more details about that. So that it would have. It's difficult.
It's hard lying, to a group of of people, some of which are actually reasonably smart.
God, I've got the okay. How about this? How about this? You waddle back into the tribe. You sit down slowly, wince as you sit down, holding the fish ahead of you the whole time. What happened? Why have you got a fish? I don't want to talk about it.
That's really good. That's my strategy.
Drop the fish in the sand. Ryan, what about you, mate?
The middle option is deeply unsatisfactory to me because you've got to share your hint. And at this stage, this early in the game, there is nobody on this camp I trust enough. Sooner or later, somebody's going to spread that word and that will backfire. It's sort of a lose-lose-lose game because if you do that, then there you are. If you get the potato, Christopher was, cheeky and smart and asked about the other team about what they got. And that would have basically killed any strategy there. So there was no winning as soon as Christopher started doing that, asking questions, in my opinion. But still, because of the strength of the immunity idol, I would have gone for the potato. And I would just pretend there was a challenge that I lost against the other team.
The only other option there, and I agree with you actually, that is a good one until you're found out and then you're like, well, I got the idol, is to get the big fish and know that for one day, you've got the advantage of just knowing there is one. Everyone else is going to find out when Joel Dommett, Daddy, says, does anyone have the idol? So you've got one day to find it. So if you really, really think you're very good at treasure hunt, you go, all right, don't give me the clue. Just tell me there is one. That already changes the game for me. And now I've just got to find it and spend the entire day picking up wood.
Yeah, but how sus is that? You go off for a challenge, come back with a big fish, and you're like, anyway, guys, I'm just going to run off for 12 hours.
I'm going to search the forest floor for anything. I don't know. Just like mushrooms or.
Because Ren came in, it was like, yeah. And then they go, do you want to go look for some spark rocks or whatever they're called? And then walks off and they're like,
spark rocks, yeah.
where have they gone?
Where's Ren?
Like, I don't know. She just took Doug off.
Honestly,
She took Doug off.
They could have picked a better excuse, honestly, because I'm just going to go look for rocks. Like, honestly, could you have made it even less? Okay, here's my new recurring segment. Make up an excuse, just like Ren. Where did you go for 4 hours? Well, you're definitely looking for the idol.
2 words, diarrhea day.
Wilf, where are you going?
I found some really interesting caves, and obviously my wife, she went to do geography in university, and we normally go on trips where we go through mountains and stuff, and I just found it really intriguing and just needed some time.
Oh my God, I love caves. Show me the caves, Will.
I'll show you the cave.
Take me now to the caves just before it gets dark.
Ivan, I can turn this back on you. Okay, Ivan, show me the diarrhea. Where did you have a shit?
Show me your ass. Show me your ass, Ivan. What do you wipe with?
I did it in the sea. And I was wiping as I was going.
Show me the part of the beach where you shat, Ivan.
That's all excuses. Now, we know in that case that we would have each done while facing the outpost. So the next question is, we're dealing with a situation that's been gifted to us. Imagine you're Ren. Ren comes to camp. They lie about the idol. People get suspicious really fast. Surely you're putting a target on your back when you're doing that. So how do you get out of that? How do you dig yourself out of that hole?
There's something that begins with M and ends in method acting. And I think you completely convince
Hang on, no, give us a chance. Will, give us a chance to think of the answer. Come on, give us like 10 seconds. No, I give up.
Yeah, it's method acting. But no, honestly, I feel like you have to convince yourself that you've done nothing wrong. Like, I remember when we did that show once where I had to really pretend and convince myself that I was unfaithful. I had to convince myself. So I was just doing things that they were doing.
What's that show? Never heard of it. Was that like ITV3?
Yeah, it was an ITV. It was, ITV3.
So your solution is you're deep in the hole. Let's dig deeper.
No, you're deep in the hole. Just don't dig anymore. Just stay in the hole.
Because you know what? Because actually, I was going to agree with you. Like, when you're in that sort of hole, you're just like, there's 2 ways you get away with that. Either you admit it's a lie, but you pay the price, or you just keep lying. Eventually, people are just going to stop digging. You're just going to keep up the light.
Yeah. I mean, the most important thing here is the reason why I've taken the smaller fish is it's an opportunity to gain an ally for quite a few episodes. So while it's a weak position to be in, if you exactly as happened with Ren, if Ren and Doug find the idol, even if everyone suspects them, they're not going for them for 3 weeks, and maybe they respect the game a little bit. If it lasted forever, Doug would keep it. Because it only lasts for 3 episodes, there's a chance if Ren needs it, Doug gives it to Ren. So it is quite a good alliance they've got there.
Yeah. And actually, that brings me on to a point, which is something you always see on Survivor throughout the years. What's really powerful about the idol isn't just the idol itself, it's the threat of the idol at Tribal Council. The mere knowledge that this person, once you start suspecting somebody will have an idol, you will inevitably either just not vote for them because that's too much of a hassle, or you'll split the votes to, handle the idol. But when you split the vote, then you give some space to another alliance to get in and not split the vote and turn the game on its head. So the power of the idol is actually in what it can do more than what it actually does.
But you're relying on smart votes there. And maybe we will halfway through this series, towards the end of this series. We haven't yet got to a point where even though they're alliances, they're not really voting with their alliances. It's not strong enough yet.
They're voting on vibes,
what
really.
What you're talking about there of like, okay, well, there's 4 of us in the alliance. Let's spread bets, 2 on you, 2 on you. If one of you's got the idol, the other one gets 2 votes. That's really, really advanced thinking for where we currently are.
And I guess that's an interesting sidebar. That's my one issue with the game so far, now 4 episodes in. I just feel like the game has been lacking in tactical voting, tactical thinking. They're sort of taking it, I think they're doing the same thing we did on the Traitors, which was taking one day at a time, and at the end of every day be like, oh, thank God it wasn't me. Yeah. Okay, let's figure out what we do next. And just panic every 3 days, not have a clear plan, a clear vision to the end of the game.
I think it's very simple, this season, this series, because so far it is people voting on tasks. That's it at the moment. It's like, okay, who did well? Who's going to help us in the future? It's very much there's no tactical voting in terms of We're starting to see little clips of people say we're gonna have to turn on each other at some point. We're gonna have to turn on each other at some point. A lot of people have said that, but at the moment the voting has mainly been just literally on performance based. It's not. That's what I think from my point of view.
You're right. I definitely agree with you. The Leilani vote was about that. The Nena vote that when they got rid of Rach in episode 3 was interesting because it was tactical. It was the start of that was Lee saying, "I want a boys' club. Let's get rid of one of the not boys," and then the others reacting to that. The tactical voting came in with the number of not boys that decided to join in with Lee's vote because it was another easy win. So seeing, for example, Ren and others. I've forgotten her name. Hannah, is it Hannah who's also in that group? The footballer?
Yeah.
Maybe. Bow to that and go with Lee's vote is very, very interesting because what it did, we were talking last episode about this, like 2 alliances in Leinani. Immediately, that broke. That was nothing. It was a very, very fleeting alliance. So I'm interested to see when the first alliance lands that sticks. I think this boys v not boys thing in Leinani will stick. But I'm fascinated by that. Compared to Calaton, who haven't yet got an alliance 4 episodes in, that's for me the one to watch.
Sorry, because Nena has had to vote, actually they're split, like they both had 2 tribal councils. But I think Lynette, obviously the first vote is very much like what happened, it's quite random. And the strategies don't really build before the first vote. And then for 2 votes, they don't have to vote. So they've only had to really start thinking about strategy in episode 4.
The strategy in Calaton seems to be we don't like Shay. It's just like we don't. Yeah, like we're just one group, and this is an
strategy is a big word.
The strategy is if we don't get immunity, we're going for Shay. Okay, so he's making them all immune. That's how it feels.
Unfortunately for them, strategy is a big word, and you've got to make it up by using jigsaw, balanced against people, and they're like STRA, and they're not managing to build that up.
Can we do a challenge rundown? Because there were some great challenges this episode. These 2 episodes.
Okay. Let's have a chat about the challenges then. Challenge rundown. How did you feel? Now, a reminder of what we had so far. Ivan's been over this. We had the sort of hot pursuit challenge where they were in the river with 15-kilo bags, and where, Lee came loud and strong with the strategy that was a complete failure.
Oh, it was awful.
Then we had the 1-to-1 face-off in the water trying to ring a bell, sort of fight vibe, very similar to what we had already before. And then the immunity challenge, which involved balancing blocks on a platform, stacking them out to spell the word immunity, which was great for everyone except Peg Leg.
He was just dyslexic.
He kept spelling itchy me.
Actually, it was amazing to watch him do it in the end.
I love Peg Leg. I think he's funny.
Right, okay, so these challenges, favourite challenges, what did you like about it? Any feedback, any comments? Just a little bit of feedback. Wilf.
Oh, can I give some quick feedback? I've written this down. And this is true. I bet you most of the people that watch this think exactly the same thing. I could do that easily. But I know I couldn't. Do you know what I mean? In my mind, no, I couldn't. I'm like, I could do that. But then realistically,
I agree with you, Wilf. I know you couldn't.
Yeah. They look like you could do them, but you can tell they're so much harder than what you think they are. Does that make sense? It's very simple games, but it's
because visually they don't make them very impressive. They make them look like sometimes like kids games, you know, and like it lacks a bit of gravitas of like, like bright colors, and it's just looking like nice and fun. No, I want pain.
I love how physical they are, and they just chuck each other out. Like, when they were doing going against each other in the water, running towards each other.
Yeah,
that looked hard. The side looked hard. Like if you flung someone and they're in there, do you know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, this is physical. I didn't expect it to be so physical.
I want to bring up something from that task. I want to bring up a new recurring segment, Ivan's Task Hack of the Week, which has a jingle. Ryan?
Ivan's Task Hack of the Week.
And that's definitely the noise of a pig and not of Will doing something terrible to his hand. Okay, so what I love about Survivor is you often get people who hack challenges and figure out a way to win it brilliantly. I want to draw attention to Rachel, not Rach, but Rachel, who in her battle with Hannah looks like she's going to run past her. They think, it's going to be a straight race all the way. As she runs past her, she reaches out her hand to the seat of Hannah's pants and just pulls her off balance. So she falls backwards just a tiny bit. doesn't have to fall off her feet, doesn't have to fall down, just pulls her off her balance a little bit. That means she can carry on running forward. But now Hannah has to try and run and stop her. And what we saw from the game is as soon as someone else tries to stop somebody else in that game, they lose. You have to be the one who's going for it. It was so bloody clever. And what was most clever about it was she'd obviously watched the first 3 races and gone, I need to be the one who's being chased. All I've got to do is bring her half a second behind me, and her brain has to make the decision, I have to stop her now. Brilliant, Rachel.
Yeah, amazing.
Love you, Rachel.
And I really like the point where, Joel goes, and now the chase is on. And then they bring out like this fat guy that just answers questions. Or was I watching the wrong channel? Maybe I was watching the wrong show. Sorry.
When I was watching it, I was like, I'd take it as a basketball player. When like a basketball player goes to run past someone and do that little turn. They do a little turn and they carry on running. Yeah. That's what I think I would try and do in my brain. I try to do a little turn and
then
carry
you
on.
fall over and you just drink loads of water and get like
But the water makes it so much harder.
But the one thing I have to say is like basically every week we sort of get like some challenge that basically involves like 2 people fighting each other. We had this in the first week. We had this week, and in the trailer for next week we can see there's another bit of 2 people fighting on a different environment, like
Gladiator.
Yeah.
There's two options here, right? One, the people setting the games don't have that many ideas. Or 2, which I thought was quite clever for a minute, they're trying to get into your head it's all physical so they can then do the skill challenges and then people like Leilani can suddenly do really well. I'm hoping it's that.
It's really lacking skill challenges.
The producers are going, we don't really like Lee that much. Let's put some skill ones in there just to mess up his game plan.
No, I've got one more wrestling one first. All right, put the wrestling one on then.
So yeah, that was my take on the challenges. That like, yeah, please, like something more mental. Give me a puzzle. Give me something that just messes with everyone's brain.
Yeah. Survivor is at its best when it's the intersection between brain and brawn. And so far it's been mostly brawn and a little bit of brain. And that's why they voted Leilani to the other group, because they were like, well, it's been six tasks and 5 have been physical. Like, okay, you've noticed. Well,
I'd like to hope that next week they'll actually regret that, because just after they sent Leilani to Nena, I love saying this, just after they've done that, all of a sudden the challenges stop being, very much brain-based. And at that point they're like, oh, shit. Now that would be a good twist.
If Leilani was a Nana, she'd be Nana Leilani at Nena. And if she was kneeling, it'd be the kneeling Nana Leilani at Nena. And if she was being nailed, then let's not going to talk about that.
Yeah, let's go.
Right, on that note, let's start talking then about the alliances, because that's something that we've touched on. And I've got, opinions on Lee's alliance, which is basically just quite sexist, to be honest. Like, it happens every once in a while in Survivor. There's always this one guy who's just all about brawn, no brain, just a lot of muscle, and just goes, oh, hey, boys, we should do a boy alliance and just vote out the girls. And it's...
What, boys?
I find this deeply stupid, deeply sexist, and it generally just shows a deep misunderstanding of the game in the first place. I just hate everything about the strategy and the way he's not even discreet about it. It's like a bull in a china shop. He just goes in there, like goes to people and say, hey, vote for Rachel. Doesn't even say hello. Just, oh, hey, you should vote for Rachel. Like, it's just like, there's no finesse. There's no forward thinking. There's no advanced planning. There's just brains and like, oh, hey, let's go for the boys.
But it's the worst thing. The worst thing about it is, it's worked at the moment, right? But, well, it's not worked, but he's doing it. And at first I was like, because you messaged saying Lee might be a little bit misogynistic, I was like, I'm going to give him a chance and actually try and listen and just see. And at first I was like, okay, like that. And then it gets worse and worse. He's like, what did he say? He goes, it's nothing about sexism. It's about who's strong and all the ladies are on the bench. I'm like, or whatever he says, and I'm just like, yeah, man. Yeah,
I can't save you from that.
I can't save you, bro.
And also, it's so inconsistent. He literally said, if you're weak, get out of the game because we're going to be strong and win without you. We're faster without you. It's like, okay, well,
and then they lost.
Because his tactics are wrong. Then he told them all to leave the game and they left the game. It was like, you're weak for doing what I tell you to do. That's not a great accent. I apologise to all Irish people in the world.
But
I think he lost two of his individual ones. I think he's lost 2 as himself. So to have that audacity to go, oh, we need to keep all the strong people in. It's like, okay, well, you've lost 2-1 on one. See you later, mate.
But that's actually something that sort of annoys me with this tactic, like with the other players. Like, they see Lee doing this. They've got a great excuse to say, oh, let's vote for the sexist guy. That's an easy vote. That's a vote that nobody will ever disagree with you on. That's a vote that will, in fact, make you popular. Besides, they've just come out of a challenge where he caused the loss. He messed it up. He went in with his balls and his strategy, all loud, and he messed it up for the team. The team lost because of him. And nobody attacks him on this. Nobody goes, immediately the two girls, Ashley and Rachel, they just go against one another when they could stop for a second and go, Ashley, Rachel, let's take a second, actually. Why are we not going for the guy who fucked it up for the team? That's such an easy vote winner.
There's not any very, very good strategy in this, in their camp. That it's very much like, I don't get it. It's like nobody's thinking real strategic.
It was an open king in a game of chess. It was like, here you go, have it. Anyone who took up on that and went, all right, everyone, let's vote for him. I was thinking Ren or Doug, both very clever people, both easily could have basically become the de facto leader of that entire tribe. Not that they wanted that, or at least respected by more than half of that tribe. A very, very comfortable seat in a strong alliance if they just got 4 people to vote for him. It would have been so easy. Nobody stepped up. Disappointed. The only reason I can think that it didn't happen is because nobody wanted to be that visible at this early. That's the only way I can think of it.
I think they're just a bit too British about it. They're too keen to avoid confrontation, but the whole point of this game is confrontation. You're just delaying the inevitable.
I'm not someone who often brings up the traitors, but I want to bring this up for a second. I want to remind you all of the feeling of when you're in the round table and you hear someone else's name get brought up and you're like, phew, I'm free for a day. And I think what happened there was, and I am as guilty of this as anyone else first 3 days, of being like, oh, thank God, my name's not up. Cool, I can relax. I can just go with the majority. Ren, Doug, I said they were bad strategists. Maybe not, because they did what I did, which was just to say, all right, I'll attack Lee another day, because for now I'm safe and that's all I care about. It's exactly what you were saying, Ryan. Safe for one day, maybe that's enough. In the long run, it's not going to win you the game.
Yeah. That's Lee's strategy on Nena. And then we've got Carleton. Is there really a strategy there? I don't know what you guys thought about this, but I don't actually believe there was one. It's just, let's go for the guys that's a little bit annoying.
Yeah, and to be fair, I haven't seen enough of them. I don't think they got nowhere near as much airtime to watch in the 2 episodes. You didn't really see much. It was just them being really happy eating a barbecue together and being really happy and communal and bitching about Shay. Like, that was all their that's all we've seen. We didn't see anything else. That's what, from what
it felt like a lot in the run up to Tribal Council, actually. It felt very short. It just felt like a lot of rambling of like, it didn't feel like anyone was gearing things up. Like, these few hours between the Immunity Challenge that you've just lost and Tribal Council are key to like rile up people, to bring your troops together, to sort something out. And they all just go for it like, we'll see what happens, whatever.
I was going to say, it felt more like British reality TV than anything else. Just then be like, oh, this guy's an outsider. She didn't do very well on the tasks. I'm waiting for them to step up. There's some good players in that team. Lawrence, I think, is quite clever. A lot of them are quite clever. Go on, mate.
I think they are, I think they need a shake-up to realise they're not on holiday.
That actually brings me to my final point for today, which is that new twist at the end. You're voting to send somebody to the other tribe. What did you think of this twist, Ivan?
I like it. My instant reaction was, hey, that's not fair. But it's the game. It's just a game. I like it because it brings an element of strategy. As it turns out, Leilani is sort of considered by the other team. Do they accept her or not? Obviously, they can vote her out next tribal council. That's an easy win for them if they want. Or they can go, great, we gain someone else. The women in that group, and Ren, should say, we're back to 4-all again. We can regain that majority and vote out Lee. So they can use her and draw her into an alliance and then think everyone's going to vote her out and bam, strike. So I like it in terms of what it throws up for next episode.
Yeah, I agree with you. Wilf?
I'll be honest, I really like twists in reality shows. I think they're amazing.
It's my favourite flavour of Fanta as well.
The worst one though is when people are going to be eliminated but are not. I've always hated it in reality shows.
Yeah.
I always have. It's like, I feel like it's not fair. I really do. Like, for me, if you're out, you're out. That's it. That's just my opinion.
That's part of the way I feel about this. So, like Ivan, I like what this means for the future. This could be really interesting. We'll see, if Leilani can strategize staying in La Nena. And, probably a lot of that probably depends on, if La Nena wins the next immunity challenge, and she'll probably have enough time to solidify a role there and stay in. If they lose, then she's probably going to run out of time. Time's going to be a bit too short, and she's probably going to be the next person out. And so that could be interesting to see, in the next few episodes. What I don't like about it is that it partly feels like a reward for the tribe that's actually going to tribal council. In their mind, they're getting a reward. They're getting rid of dead wood. And in fact, it makes the game harder for Nena, who now have a wider pool of people to deal with all the way until the merger. So I'm not a massive fan of how this impacts the tribes, like both tribes, really.
Yeah, I feel like it should have been given in a different way. It was strange that it was just like, I don't know, the fourth elimination is not an elimination. It should have almost, as you say, been like, not a reward, but maybe a choice or something they could vote for, or, something that felt like a different part of the game than just a tribal council. Okay,
well, I guess my last question then is, do you send Leilani over? You've got a bunch of people to vote for. Who are you going to send over? You've got Jess, you've got Lawrence, you've got Leilani, Matthew, Nathan, Rachel, Shay, and Tanuki.
It does make sense to send Leilani, but only if you consider that all the future tasks will be physical tasks. She also seems, she's quite peppy, isn't she, in the way she sort of constantly dances around and stuff. You can't send Shay, because even though you don't get on with him, he's bloody.
They need him.
They need him. He's clever and strong. They need that man.
Yeah, it's quite hard. Actually, I don't think I could have sent anyone else.
I can't think of anyone else.
Imagine Lee waking up with another boy. He'd be well happy, wouldn't he?
Yes! Boys!
Well, that's pretty much...
Well, hang on a minute. I've got a recurring segment.
Okay, well, before we go, here's Ivan's recurring segment. Ivan.
This segment is nameless, but it's important. Because we always say who we think is going to win the show, and we never stick to it. Right now, we are sticking to our initial predictions, I said, and I'll stick with that too. Yeah, so, okay. Rayan, you said Ren. I said Matthew. And Wilf, you said Pegleg. So let's check in with these three. Who, right now, of those three is most likely to win? What do we think?
Ren, obviously.
Maybe, but no. Ren was flying quite close to the sun in episode 3, and I was thinking there was like a 20% chance they went home. So actually, in terms of keeping their head below the ground, whatever it is, their nose below the parapet, I'd say Matthew's doing the best of these three right now.
Yeah, I think I agree. Pegleg, I see people just getting him out at some point. Because I feel like he is struggling on some of the challenges.
I was just worried at some point he might seem like a bit of an outsider. And nothing to do with his leg, just simply the fact that he's like a Cornish man from a slightly closeted place. He maybe doesn't... he seems very cool, but there's a lot of British flags going on, and there's one thing we know about British flags, it often leads to closeted views. It may not, I have no evidence to know that he's like this. It's just simply
it's a flag.
Slightly prejudiced. It's a red flag.
It's a stereotype, is it? Ivan, are you stereotyping?
I'm not. I wouldn't say. So that's my recurring segment. I just want to check in because I want to see who actually wins with these initial predictions. No changing. Wilf, I heard you say you want someone else to win and think they will. Too late. It's too late for that.
No, but I like Doug. I think, mate, I'm sticking with Pegleg because that was my initial
thing. You're not allowed to like Doug, actually.
Moment,
no. Sorry.
Why?
No, you're not. No, because I say so. You have to only like Pegleg.
Okay.
But yeah, at the end of the day, look, I stand by Ren. But anyway, that's our review of episodes 3 and 4 of Survivor UK. Should we be back next week to discuss Survivor episodes 5 and 6?
Yes, please.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, then we'll be back next week to discuss episodes 5 and 6 of Survivor UK on the podcast where we watch reality TV, so you don't have to. If you liked us, you know the drill. Give us 5 stars on Spotify, on your podcast app. Give us a nice little review. Send us some love, love letters written anonymously in blood. That's all fine. We want them. Please send them over. My name is Ryan Rashidi. You can follow me at Leinani's Leilani.
My name is Will. You can follow me at I am dedicated to Pegleg.
My name's Ivan. You can follow me at Help. I'm running out of blood after writing so many love letters.
And from all of us here is see you very soon and goodbye.
Bye. 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 Bye.